Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a super fun video. It might be long though. I'm going to try not to keep you here for a year, but there are no promises because today we're going to be discussing the First Law series. We're going to go through the first 3 books of Joe Abercrombie's world here. I'm going to talk spoilers. I'm also going to do a really quick section of non-spoilers for those that want just like a quick rundown of why I loved it. And then I'm going to talk spoilers because this book needs to talk spoilers. This is one of my favorites. And there are so many fun scenes in this. And I need to talk about it with somebody. We're following a variety of characters. We've got Glocta, who is a torturer. He used to be a prisoner of war, but then he ended up getting rescued or released or whatever. And now he's turned to being a torturer, and now he asks questions, and if he doesn't get the answer he wants, then he starts chopping pieces, like starts torturing. With his character, it's really interesting because of the fact that it doesn't matter if it's the right answer or not, or if you're being honest or not, he's gonna get what he wants. And so he has very good inside knowledge to how to torture people based on personal experience. He is a crowd favorite. Everyone seems to love him so much more than everybody else. But I love Logan, and we'll get to Logan in just a second. But so, with Glocta, we're following him throughout the story as he is attempting to figure out who Baez is and what he wants, and he's just trying to ask all the questions and serve his leader. And he's trying to stay one step ahead of all of the secrets and all of the political intrigue stuff. I don't know what word to use there. But that's his job, is he asks questions, and he is basically like a detective, but he tortures people for information. And so that's what he's doing for this whole story, pretty much. Now, Logan. Logan is my favorite. Logan is a barbarian. He is from the north, and Logan he's a soldier, basically. And he is so underrated because that's the way he wants it. Like, he will tell you, don't be too flashy, don't be too smart. Like, it's better to be underestimated because then no one knows what to expect of you when you have to defend yourself. And he ends up getting separated from his group of Northmen. He was the leader of them. It's this like small band of people he was leader of. And he ends up getting separated, and he runs into a wizard, and the wizards are like, hey, let's go on a journey. And so they take him into the city and they take him on adventures, and he's trying to figure out, like, why am I here? Like, I'm just a dude, like, from the north. Like, why am I here? And so we're also following Giselle. Giselle is a soldier. He's so arrogant. It's all about his looks and how good he looks and how amazing he is and yada, 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 right? Well, he also is training for this contest. It's like a dueling contest, and the winner gets to be named like the champion. And you get a lot of like accolades for being this champion. And so we see him training day in and day out. And then he'll go and he'll party with his friends and play poker and drink and all these things. And he's not very nice to his friends. So we don't really like him. But he ends up with Logan's group and them trying to go on this adventure. And everyone is asking, why are you here? Like, you're dumb and we don't need you. So we have them. We're also following West. West is a soldier. West is just a soldier in our country. There's not really a whole lot to say about him other than like he actually tries to do the right thing. He is actually pretty good at his job. He is friends with Giselle, but they're like not really friends, but sort of friends. Um, Giselle actually likes his sister, Artie, and she is a bit of a drunk and plays by her own rules. And West hates her so much because she's a loose cannon, and he likes to be like a little bit more straight laced, right? We're also following this girl, Pharaoh, and she used to be a prisoner and she escaped, and now she's like out for revenge. And she joins our team and she hates everybody. And she is like a badass woman who will kill you quickly. Like, has no qualms about killing you because you just deserve it or you get on her nerves. And so she's part of our team and going on this adventure with us. Ooh, we're also following Dogman. I love Dogman. Dogman is great. So Dogman is actually Logan's team. The team that he got separated from in the beginning of the story. That's his team. And so they're Northmen, and what they're trying to do is they're just trying to survive until they learn that Bethod, who is king of the North, who has like kicked them out of the country, right, because he hates them, they find out that Bethod's town, country, whatever, is going to be like invaded by these like zombie type things. I don't know. They're called Shanka. They sound like zombies. And so they go and try to like warn them, and they're dealing with that, and they're dealing with the fact that they're kind of on the run and they're just trying to survive. Baez is also a big character, but we don't get his perspective. He is one of the wizards that we're following. A lot of secrets. He's wild and weird, and he's just trying to bring magic back into the world again. No one really believes him when he says that he's the first of the Magi. I don't know. He's a magician. Um, and no one really believes him that he's like, I was there when it all was created. Nobody really believes him. So we're trying to figure out that as part of what Glocta is trying to figure out is who is this dude? Is he like real or is he like crazy? But so that is your basic rundown of your story. That's actually a lot more than you would actually get in like a description because like a lot of that is like your whole plot. Like that's book one. And some of book two. Like it's a very, very slow going book. It's very character driven. If you don't like character driven stories, you're not gonna like this. Like Joe Abercrombie has said in interviews that he wishes he had put more plot into that first book because there's not really a whole lot there. It's a lot of build up of the characters and learning who they are. And like we don't even go on our adventure until later. Like it takes a while before we go on our adventure because we're just chilling, getting to know each other and like learning who the characters are. So if you don't like slow burn, this is not for you at all. Now it gets faster, but it takes it a minute to get there, and we're going to talk about some of those things. But yeah, I think that's basic premise of the story. I love the characters. They're all horrible, horrible people, but you love them anyways. Like Joe Abercrombie writes them in a way that they're so rootable. Like you just love them. Joe Abercrombie's prose. I can't. Joe Abercrombie's prose. He's very direct. He's very straightforward. He has a joke about how his mom read part of his story one time when he was writing it, and she was like, "Is that really how that looks, though?" And he's like, "No, it just sounds good." And she's like, "It's not how it really looks, though." He's like, "Whatever." And so now he writes pretty like direct, and he's very realistic about stuff. There's a lot of war happening, and he's very realistic about war and all of the things that are happening there. He doesn't romanticize it at all, but he doesn't shy away from it either. Like this is very grim dark. This is grim dark. We've got people being tortured, and like you get to experience that torture. You've got a lot of language, and you've got a lot of violence. Like it's pretty violent throughout. Some of the characters, there's no hope for their futures. There's no hope for their lives, and it's not happy go lucky. So if that's what you're looking for, this is definitely not it for you. Okay, so spoiler time. I am so excited about spoilers. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. I've got notes for the first three books, and I've got those separated out. So we'll just talk first story, first book, but I may like connect those to like future books and things. So this may be very chaotic. Who knows? But hopefully it's a good time anyways. Okay, first thing that I have in part of my notes is that I love Logan. I love Logan so much. Like he's just so direct and witty. And I don't know that he's supposed to be funny, but I think the juxtaposition of what he says to what actually happens is so funny. Like he's like I'm so stealthy, and then he like falls over and like is not stealthy at all, and I love those things. I love the recurring lines in the story of like say one thing for Logan Nine Fingers, and then he says something, and it's always different from the last thing that we say, or it's like you have to be realistic about these things, and I just love it so much. Like, he's just great. I love him. I love that he is just very simple and like direct and just like he seems uncomplicated. Like he is not a complicated character at all until you like get to know him, and then he's a lot more complicated with the whole like Bloody Nine thing. I love that he is so cool with like getting out of stuff and like beating people up and like winning these little battles and stuff. Like he is a named man, like, and he has earned every bit of those names. Like he's earned it. I also don't understand the appeal for Glocta. Like he's fine, but I really don't enjoy his perspective, and I don't know exactly what it is. I think maybe he's just so whiny all the time. Like he just complains all the time about all of his ailments and all of the fact that he is always hurting and always having to go up and down the stairs, and he's just complaining about the stairs. And I know all that's internal monologue, and I know he has every right to be a complainer. He does. But I'm also just like, okay, whatever. Like, you're hurt. You're in pain. We get it. Like, I know, I'm so insensitive. I also really don't like Giselle, especially early on. I like him in book three. Book three is where Giselle like really comes into his own for me, and like I really like him a lot more in book three after he goes through everything that he goes through. But I don't like Giselle. Giselle's not a lot of fun. I really just like Logan. Oh, and the first time I read this story, West was my favorite character for a long time. I loved Logan, but up until like midway towards the end, I loved West. I loved the fact that he was so good and like such a good guy. And then here he comes hitting his sister. And I'm like, what? Our good guy is a woman beater? Like, what? Wild. I was so thrown. I did not expect him to hit her, but he did. And it's like, what are you doing? And I love how we got glimpses of that anger that's in him that comes to play later. Like, it worked out so well. Now, Artie, I really don't like Artie. Like, I don't know why Giselle likes her. Like, I don't get it. Yeah, she's bold, she's crass, and she'll say whatever, and she'll do whatever, and but like, I don't know. I don't find that attractive. Like, I like bold people. I think being bold is one thing, but I think she's bold in a way that she is looking for a reaction, and so I think it's all just a show, and so I just don't like her. Oh, but so I wrote some things down of why I like Logan. Okay, so this was a quote from Logan, and I'm just like, ah, I just love you. I saved a man this year and only killed four. I am a man reborn. Like that is all him. Like he kills so many people all the time and never saves anybody. Doesn't care about nobody. Like so, him only saving one and him only killing four is a big deal. Like he's a changed dude. Like that's what he's like. It's so funny to me. And I love how throughout the whole thing, he's like, it's better to do the thing than live with the fear of it. Like, that's so true. He always gives the best advice. Oh my gosh, I had a lot of feelings when we met Bethod and like Logan and Baez were in this meeting with Bethod. Oh my gosh. Baez has no care. He has no chill. He is just taunting Bethod and just like instigating him, just like, I don't care what you say. Like, he is bold. I mean, he has reason to be, but he is bold. Like, he says this. Like, Baez says this to Bethan. He said, I'm afraid I don't kneel to anyone. Too old for it. Stiffness in the knees, you see. I cracked up at that line. So funny. Like, he has no care for Bethod at all. Like, he's just totally mocking him, mocking his sorceress, all the things. And he's also like, I'm on your side. And then he's like, dot, 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 I'm a liar, dot, dot, dot. Like, he's playing him, and it's so interesting to watch because Bethan is like built up to be this huge dude who's like totally scary. Like even Logan, who was so nonchalant and realistic at everything, like he fell off a cliff when we met him, and he's just like, whatever. He is feeling stuff in Bethod's presence. Like he is scared and he is angry and he is feeling a lot of things. And here's Baez just like, whatever, just poking the bear. Oh my gosh, we get the navigator, Brother Longfoot, to come with us on our journey. I can't stand him. He talks so much. Like, and he doesn't even say anything. Like, it's just words. To use my dad's phrase, you're just killing trees. You're just using oxygen to use oxygen and you're just like burning the trees up. Like, just shut up. I just read my note. And so Logan and West are at this like fancy dinner. It's like a whole big thing for the kingdom or whatever. And Logan eats a flower. I said no. So he just eats the flower. It's so funny. Like, he's just so clueless. And then Wes takes that time to talk to Logan and get to know him. And he asks about Bethad and asks if he ever fought against him. And Logan's like, worse. I fought for him. And they talk a lot. And Wes actually learns that Logan knows a lot. Like, Logan knows strategy for things and actually is smarter than he comes across. I also love when Logan is watching this play. And you know how, like, in a play, you'll have like a door in the middle of the stage and they'll be like knocking on the door and whatever, like go in and out of like a room or whatever, but it's just a door. Well, Logan's like, it would be easier just to like go around the door to talk to them. Like, he just doesn't understand. And it's so funny seeing him in that element because he is such a killer. Like, he is a killer. And seeing him just like so out of his element, it just cracks me up. Oh my gosh. So more bias of not giving a single care about nothing. So Salt, he is the ruler of he's the boss of Glocta and the torturers and them like interrogating people. And so he has been after Baez and trying to figure out who Baez is, and he doesn't believe that Baez is who he's supposed to be, right? Well, then Baez is at this dinner that we're having, and Salt's like, hey, if you are who you say you are, then break this table. And so Baez like pulls out this key, and it's like supposed to be a really special key. And then he breaks the chair that Salt is sitting in. And he's like, I didn't want to spill everyone's soup. So there you go. He has no care. No care at all. We go to the house of the maker and it's super weird. Like, we just go in and come out. Like, I don't really even know what we're doing there. The first time I read this, I had zero idea what was happening. Zero. And I still don't super know. I just know it was weird and everyone gets really weirded out. So, more on that later. And then we have West assaulting Artie, and I have in my notes of like, I don't know whether to be impressed or concerned for her response because she doesn't get overly mad. She doesn't yell, cuss, scream, all those things at him. She doesn't cry. She just compares him to their dad, spits at him, and walks away. She's like, you were supposed to be my saving grace, and now look at us. And that was it. Very cold in her response, which I mean, that's kind of how she is. Like, she's very, how to describe her? She's very loud and doesn't care about other people's opinions. And for her to be like cold and like whatever, it's kind of like she expected that of him. And I mean, and she pushes people to that point. So I guess she did kind of expect it. Okay, so the ending. Now, let me tell you, the ending. I had zero idea what was happening in this ending the first time that I read it. And I didn't even really fully understand the whole Nine Fingers thing when I first read it. But when I read it this time, I did the first one, partial audio, partial ebook. And so I was able to actually see the change in the narrative when I had it on ebook. And so Logan, he goes looking for Pharaoh. This is after we've met our whole team and we're getting ready to like go on our adventure, right? Well, he goes looking for her, but they're under attack. And he always refers to himself as Logan or the Bloody Nine. Um, if you don't know, he's the Bloody Nine because he has 9 fingers and he kills everybody. And sometimes he refers to himself as 9 fingers, but mostly he is Logan. He doesn't always refer to himself as the Bloody Nine or anything. It's usually Logan or 9 fingers, but typically Logan. Well, in the narrative, you see him talking about how like he's so tired and sore and like he is like slowing down in the middle of this fight, right? And then all of a sudden, the narrative is different and it changes. And he is now the Bloody Nine. And he says in the narrative, like he can feel himself changing and he's like, no, I was free of you. And then he's like taken over by the Bloody Nine. And he's completely different. Like, he stops feeling pain and He no longer cares whose side you're on. In this moment, he will kill you, even if you were his wife or his child or you're on his team. Like, he does not care when he is the Bloody Nine. He will kill you. Logan is presented as this dude who is just like fumbling and an idiot, but he will get stuff done. Like, he's very realistic about things and he will do what needs to be done because it has to be done. Whereas like Bloody Nine actually takes pleasure in killing and hurting everybody he possibly can. And so that was really interesting to see that switch, because then when I was listening to the audiobooks of the second and third one, I could see it a little bit easier, that switch. And it's so interesting because we know that Logan is a killer. We know that he's hardcore. We know that it doesn't matter who you are, like, he's gonna win. And in those moments when things are like up against the wall, like, you can see, oh, this is why he wins, is because he no longer feels anything and he no longer cares. There's no sympathy, there's no thought of anybody else. And so it's just kill or be killed, and he will kill you. And then we end book one with Glokta being sent to Dagosca. This is a town that is being kind of like overtaken. They're getting ready to go under siege in book two, and so he's going there to see what he can do. So as you can see, there's not really a whole lot of plot. I kept going mostly because I liked Logan, and I really like Dogman. I didn't know that I mentioned Dogman. He's so much fun. I love Dogman. I love his perspective. I think he's just like a great character. He's not really doing a whole lot. We don't see him a ton. He's not even like the leader. Like, they put Red Three Trees in charge of their little group, and they're just kind of chilling, hanging out. That's really all they're doing. Okay, so book two is before they are hanged, and Glokta does grow on me a little bit more in book two while he's in Dagosca, because he's got a little bit more power and he actually says a lot of the things that he's thinking in his head. So if you come at him, he's no longer like telling you off in his head. He's actually going to tell you off in real life. And I find that to be a lot more fun. Casca. We see Casca in this, and I forgot that he was in this until he showed up, because he is in the Heroes. And that's where you get a little bit more of him. But Casca, I love Casca. I don't even know why I love Casca. He's such a drunkard, and he is a, what are they called? Mercenary. He's a sword for hire, and he does not care whose side it is, whatever. It's so funny. In book three, he's talking about how he always has like a change of clothes. That way, he can always be a turncoat. Can't turncoat if you don't change clothes. And so it's so funny because that's just how he is. He doesn't care. Okay, so Logan, Baez, Giselle, Pharaoh, and what's his name? I don't remember his name. He was an apprentice to Baez. He is a Quali. I don't know. He's a magician, or like learning. He's an apprentice, right? So our group, and don't forget the navigator, Brother Longfoot. He's on for the ride too. So we are going across the world, right? And so Logan is like, well, if we're gonna work together, and then we kind of need to like trust each other, and so he starts trying to build trust, and he like Quay is that dude's name. That's what I was trying to think of. So Logan is trying to build trust, and so he's talking to the people, and he's trying to like extend olive branches and like get to know them, and they're just like not receptive at all. They hate him so much. Like, that's the only way you're gonna work together. Like, when things hit the fan and you need someone to someone to have your back, you have to be able to trust people. And so like he's trying to do that, but they don't care. But they also haven't lived the life that Logan has lived. Logan has been a part of these types of teams and has been a leader, and you can see those characteristics in his interactions with them on their trip, because he is trying and it's just not working. Oh my gosh, Giselle getting injured. Honestly, this was the best thing for him. Like, he was such a brat. And then he gets injured. He gets like bashed in the face and like breaks his jaw and all kinds of stuff. And Logan has to take care of him. And I love that it's Logan who takes care of him. And like, Logan is so funny because he's like such a killer, but he's so gentle with Giselle and like nurtures him back to health. Like, You would not expect that of a killer. And that's what I mean by like Logan is so simple, yet the more you get to know him, the more complicated he is. It's because he has that killer streak, but he also has like such a nurturing heart, and it's I just love him. I love that this really put Giselle on a different path. Like Giselle actually learned like, oh, I'm not the greatest. I actually need to get my life together, because like he ended up winning that contest that I was telling you about, and he is just so arrogant and so about his looks and how good looking he is and comes from a good family and yada yada yada, and then he just like gets his face bashed in, and now he's helpless, and now he can't do anything for himself. Like he can't do anything for himself. He can't even feed himself. So he has to like be fed. And so it's really humbled him, and he's questioning all his life choices and things like that, and it's fantastic. He really needed this. I mean, it sucks that he like broke his jaw, but he becomes a better person. Okay, so this interaction. Glokta is talking with Koska, and Koska says how useless honor is. He doesn't fight up front because you're more likely to die up there. Like, that's how he is. Like, he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm gonna hang out in the back. Aren't you supposed to be a mercenary? And then Koska tells Glokta, the more you have, the less good it does you, and when you don't have it, you don't miss it. And then we see in Glokta's internal monologue, he's talking about how honor isn't worth losing your limbs over, and that he learned that the hard way. And like that scene like cuts because he was a prisoner of war, and they keep torturing and torturing until you give up what they want. And you know that he held out for a long, long time because that's just how people do. Like they were trained for that. And he's like, it's not worth it. Like, it might be worth it in the moment, but in the long run, when you have to deal with the fact that you can't get up and you go to the bathroom on yourself all the time and you can't do anything, like, it's not worth it. Oh my gosh. So, this scene was not exactly how I remembered it on reread, but it was so funny. I remembered it being so funny because it's so realistic. So, and we have to talk about it just because it's so realistic. Like, it's stupid. Like, we don't need to talk about it, but I want to talk about it. So, Logan and Pharaoh have sex. And if you've read this, you know how awkward of a scene this is. Like, it is so awkward. And I love Abercrombie for writing it this way because, like, when you see a lot of scenes like this in stories, it's all like magic and fireworks and whatever. And it's like the greatest thing ever. And, like, between them, it's horrible. It's so horrible. But it's so real. I feel like it's very real. Like, this really does happen to some people. And so I just find it so funny. And it just cracks me up. Oh my gosh. Then we have West, who has gone to war, right? And he ends up meeting Dogman and his friends. And we've got the prince with us, who is stupid. We can't stand the prince, right? Well, um, we also have a girl that's with us. She ended up banding together with Dogman and stuff. And West liked her, which is so sad and so precious. Like, I love that he liked her. But she ended up getting with Dogman, right? And I don't remember exactly the order of these events, so I may get them backwards. I think it happens this way. I think Wes liked her, but then she didn't really want anything to do with him, or he didn't make a move, or whatever. They didn't get together. Well, then the prince is attempting to assault her, right? So, West catches him and kills him. He kills the prince, which is a huge deal. Just kills him. And so Dogman and them call him Furious. Like, that is now his name. He is now a named man, right? So then, after West kills the prince, we end up catching Dogman and the girl that we liked having sex. And Wes is like so heartbroken and sad, but like there's nothing he can do about it because that's who she wants to be with, so it's whatever. And so poor West, he can't ever get what he wants. And then during this we have a battle, and probably Bethan's team. That's usually who we're like battling, right? And we're battling them, and we end up losing 3 trees. 3 trees is our leader, and we lose him, and he is great. We love 3 trees. Like 3 trees is like perfect as a leader, right? So we lose him, and we also lose Dogman's new girlfriend. Like we lose her. Like he just got her, and now she's dead. Like this is Joe Abercrombie. This is what I mean by this is grimdark. Like you have a good time, and then they die. And so like that's what he does to you. And then Dogman gets promoted as chief, and he's like, "What? Why am I promoted? Why am I the chief?" And you got a couple that are in the group, and they're like, I can't take orders from him, and he can't take orders from me, and he doesn't want it, so I guess it's you." And so I just love Dogman. Dogman is great. Okay, and then Last Argument of Kings is book 3, and this is the one where we actually end up getting a lot of our reveals happening, and we get a lot of our twists, and it's so much fun. I love this one for the twist. Book 2 is still my favorite, just because I like a lot of those scenes better. But there are a lot of scenes in book 3 that are just like, what? What are we doing? So that's fun. I love that Giselle in book 3, he is so different. Like we went on our adventure, right? He gets beat up, and we don't find what we're looking for at the edge of the world. So we come home, and he comes home, and he stands up to a guard. And normally he wouldn't do that. Like that's not really him. But then like people start like chanting his name and talking about how he has battle fame and he served his country well at the edge of the world. He didn't do jack at the edge of the world. But stories are stories, right? So he ends up getting lots of people being like, "Oh, you're Giselle, you won the contest," and yada yada yada. And then Giselle comes back, and he ends up getting with Artie, and they have a great time, and like they seem really good together, and he actually seems ready to do the right thing and to like settle down with her and all of these things. But then turns out, since the king is dead and Wes killed the prince, we don't have a king. We don't have anyone in line to be an heir, right? Well, it comes out that Giselle is a bastard son of the king. So now Giselle is been promoted to king. And he's like, "What?" Which is crazy because it's what he's always wanted. Like he's always wanted to be in royalty. Like he's always thought like that highly of himself. And so it works out great for him, except it's not so great because Baez is with him all the time and he hates Baez, and Baez is always like butting into his stuff. And um Giselle's wife hates him, will not let him touch her. Like they've not consummated the marriage because she wants nothing to do with him. He can't even sleep in the same bed. He has to sleep on the floor. Like wild. And then I think they ended up getting separate rooms. So Glocta, for whatever reason, I don't remember why, ends up talking to Giselle about, that part of the relationship. And he's like, "I could talk to her if you want." And he's like, "Whatever, it's fine." And so Glocta goes and talks to her and learns that she's actually in love with her handmaiden. So Glocta ends up getting the handmaiden and arresting her and taking her to the House of Questions, which is like the prison. And he's like, "If you don't have sex with Giselle every single night and get pregnant quickly, she's going to stay where she is. Like, I'm going to blackmail you into having sex with him." Like, wild. And so she does. She comes back to Giselle that night and does her wifely duties. And it's wild. Now, also with that, Giselle is partially like, "Man, I miss Artie and I love Artie and yada, yada, yada." Meanwhile, she's pregnant and she ends up marrying Glocta. What? Wild, right? And so she ends up marrying him. And she does that so that she could like just be taken care of because, she's got a baby and what else are her chances? And so Glocta like, "Hey, I'll help you. I'll marry you and we can raise this baby." And I do love Artie for the fact that she actually buys into Glocta. You see towards the end that he has this cramp when he wakes up and like he can't move and he like goes to the bathroom on himself and all these things, and he's yelling for his like butler, maid, whatever, I don't know, some dude. And in comes Artie. And he's like, no, get out. And she's like, no. If I'm going to be your wife, then I'm going to be your wife. Like, I'm going to do the things. And so they end up like moving her bed in there, and she's there for him and actually like helps him in the mornings through those things. Like, she really buys in. So I really like that for her because she had very little redeeming qualities about her. Meanwhile, we have Logan, who has ended up connecting back with Dogman, and he lets Dogman stay chief. He's like, I don't want it. Like, these guys don't want to follow me anyways. Like, they don't trust me. And a lot of them want to kill me. So I think it's best if you just stay chief. It's totally fine. Not a big deal. Well, then they end up having like little teams and they end up getting like separated. Well, they're working with the South against Bethod, right? Well, Logan ends up getting separated and he like kills these dudes by himself, and then he rejoins with the South. But it wasn't like the people that he knows. And they're like, how do we know that we can trust you? How do we know that you didn't just cut a deal with all of them and now you're leading us into a trap or whatever? And he's like, you know what? I thought you might say that. And so he throws them this bag and he says, those are the thumbs from all the dudes I just killed. He said, you can keep them. I'm missing a finger, but I have all the thumbs that I need. I'm like, what the heck? So funny. Cracked me up. Like, so funny. Like, I just love that. Like, that's why I love Logan. Like, Logan will say, like, those kinds of things, and it's just, like, wild. And I just love him. Meanwhile, he's dealing with Shivers, and I love that we get to see Shivers now because he comes back later. And he is like, I'm gonna kill you. Like, I hate you. And we're starting to see pieces of Logan where he loses control and he like kills people that he shouldn't be killing, right? And we're seeing more of that, and it's getting closer and closer to home, and he's killing more and more people that we actually like. Like, he kills Thunderhead. It's this giant dude that's on our side, and he kills him. Like, just stabs him in the back because he's a stupid bloody 9 and he can't help it. Wild. Oh, we also have Glocta dealing with the fact that he has 2 masters. So he has Salt, who is his boss, right? Well, while he was in Dagosca, he ended up agreeing to terms with this bank, Valiant and Bulk, right? And they're going to use their money to help him fund his war in Dagosca and save Dagosca, right? Which he ends up doing. Well, now he's like under both thumbs and they have opposing agendas. And so he's having to deal with that, and he's going back and forth of like, what do I do? And I think he asked Artie, like, if you have 2 suitors and you really don't want either one, like, what do you do? And she's like, I'd get a third one. He's like, a third one? I don't want a third one. And so, like, they talk a little bit, and he's like, you know what? I think you might be right. And so he ends up working it out, and he ends up being, Salt ends up dying, I think. And so Clocked ends up taking his place at the end of the story, which is really cool. Um, West ends up being made a general, which is really cool for West, even though he doesn't really get to like fully enjoy it because he became general because of the fact that Giselle is king, and Giselle's like, I need people on my council who I can trust, because like they don't let him say a word on this council, and he's just like a figurehead, which is so funny because he always wanted like all this power and all this royalty. Now that he has it, he can't do anything with it because they won't let it. Like, he's just a figurehead. And so he appoints West to be part of his council. But like, he doesn't really get to use that because West is at war and West is battling and all these things, and West comes home and West is sick, and it's a whole mess. I do like that Giselle like stands up to them though. Like, he stands up to his council at some point. It's like, okay, here we go. But so I do like West because he's a pretty good general. He a lot of I'm sorry. I don't know that I'll be able to cut all those out. Um West has these 2 dudes, Croy and somebody else, and he doesn't like either one. They both bicker back and forth, and they don't like each other. They complain to him about the other. And so what West does is he goes to them and he's on one, and he says, hey, listen, me and the other dude that you don't like, we've been chit chatting, and we feel like it's probably best if we're gonna let you go because you're terrible at your job, and we just don't want to deal with you. Like, he's really advocating for me to let you go, but I really want to give you a shot. So, can we just like all work together? And I need you to get yourself together and become part of the team and don't mess with him anymore. And he says it to both of them. And so fixes his entire problem right there. Like, wonderful. Loved it. Oh my gosh. Logan fighting the Feared is the best thing ever. I love him fighting the Feared. Oh my gosh. I got so many things to tell you in that story. So he's fighting the Feared, and we get to see him like in the circle. And they talk a lot about like being in the circle and fighting in the circle, and like he's killed a lot of people in the circle, or he's like bested a lot of people in the circle. Like that's how he ended up with his crew that he got. He beat Dogman, and he beat Thunderhead, and he beat Three Trees, and he beat Grim and Dow, and like he beat them. And so I guess he showed them mercy in the circle because they joined his team. But you don't usually show mercy in the circle. Like it's usually fight to the death. But so we're fighting the Feared, and the Feared is like a giant, but he also has a sorceress on his side, right? Well, Dogman is like, hey, we need to kill a sorceress. And so they end up going into Bethod's like palace is what it looks like. And I love Joe Abercrombie's writing because I don't remember if it was Dow or Harding Grim who like sprints across this field, like open field, to get to the castle, right? And then Dogman's like, well, dang, now I gotta go. And so Dogman's going. He trips in a hole. He just trips in a hole. Like that's very realistic. So he trips in a hole and he like scrambles over there. And he's like, dude, you almost got me killed. And the dude responded like, the day's still young. It could still happen. Like such a perfect answer. I love it. And so they end up killing the sorceress, right? Well, then we actually get an opportunity to kill the Feared, and Logan kills him, and it's wild. Like it's such a great battle. I love when we have warriors like in a circle and fighting to the death. So much fun. So because of that, now Logan gets to be king of the Northman, and he's like, "Why am I king? Like I don't want to be here. Like just, just want to survive." So he ends up being king, and then they end up back and forth in these battles and all these things. And it comes out that Logan killed Thunderhead and that he can't be trusted. And so I think it's Harding Grim. No, it's Black Dow. We lose Harding Grim too. But so Black Dow ends up usurping Logan and they attack him and he like jumps out a window. He jumped out a window into the river and that's the end of Logan. Like that is the last thing you see of Logan. And you don't know if he died, you don't know if he survived, you just know he jumped out the window. And it's such a perfect ending because it circles back to the beginning of the story when he's like falling off a cliff and into a river. So it's a great ending. I love the ending. Um, it's just wild. And then West getting sick. I distinctly remember in the first time I read this, he died. Like I remembered him dying. But on reread, he didn't die. So I don't know what I was reading. I think I just assumed he was dying. Maybe. I don't know. But crazy. And then the biggest twist of it all of it, is Baez is pulling all the strings. Which on reread, like you can see him pulling the strings. Like you see him sharing with Giselle that or like promoting Giselle and getting Giselle like in a position to be a king, right? He took Giselle on this trip when he didn't need to take Giselle on this trip because Giselle is a doofus. He also helped Giselle win the contest. Like he cheated for Giselle to help him win the contest, right? So we can see those pieces of Baez butting in to Giselle's life. And it was all because Giselle is not the bastard child of a king. He is just some random child that Baez bought off of a whore and sold to um, Giselle's dad and said, hey, I need you to just raise him up. And Giselle's like, what? I'm not the son of a king? And he's like, no, you're just a pawn. And I have 5 more just in case you didn't work out. What? Like, wild. And we find out that Baez is also the bank that gave money to Palakta to help Dagosco, right? So we find out that that is Baez the entire time, which is wild. Another twist, Palakta's man, I don't remember which one it was, but he ended up being a traitor. So that was wild. So we had to kill him. Twists everywhere. It's so much fun. I loved it. This book still isn't my favorite, but the twists were really good and like the reveals were really good. We did end up finding the seed that I was telling you about, but it was in a different place, and then we battled with Hovens, something like that. I don't know. That's the part that I don't get a ton of, like Baez and the Magi and their whole like world war thing that they've got going on. I don't know. That's the part of the book three that I ended up not really listening to. I like zoned out and I'm just like whatever. So I don't really know everything that happened there. I just know it was wild. We ended up crushing a lot of people. That's actually why West got sick, is because of that war, that battle that we were in, because we used magic from the seed thing and it's like terrible. And it got a lot of people sick, and so Wes was dying because of that. I think that's mostly it. Um, the rest of it is just like small scenes that I just loved. Um, but I think that's it. I just I love this story, and I love a lot of these scenes. Um, oh, what's his name? Brock. Brock. I love that we got to see him betray everything, and then he becomes like marked as a traitor, because we see in later series like the family member that gets um that has a hard time because his grandfather was a traitor, and we got to see all of that here. So that was a lot of fun. I love those things about Abercrombie's world, is because everything's kind of connected, and so you get to see like the generations and like all the things that we're talking about in Age of Madness happened now, and I got to like relive that and actually like understand a lot more of the things. Yeah, I think that's it. It is now after 11 o'clock, and I've been sitting here for almost an hour. So I think I will go ahead and wrap it up. If you can't tell, I love the series. I am super excited to read the standalones again. I just love Joe Abercrombie's characters. I think they're so much fun. They have a lot of character, and they're just, they entertain me so much. So, anywho, thanks for hanging out with me for so long. Let me know your favorite character in the comments, or a favorite scene. What do you love about Joe Abercrombie? What do you hate? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.